So we're at a press briefing now. This is going to go out, obviously, when you sit down on Tuesday. You've done a press briefing for, obviously, all the MHKs and everything. We're going to get into lots of details. Oh, and we've got lots of slides, PowerPoint galore. So as we do the interview, we can run these slides over the top. It's interesting, first of all, today you seem very positive. You seem to have a new lease of life. A few months ago, things didn't look anywhere near as cool for you. In fact, you look quite ashen, and you were sending shockwaves through everyone, I think, because you were worried. We didn't know what was going to happen. But so just a general overview, are things now looking more certain?
Well, I think, first of all, as the health crisis has settled over here and we've effectively eliminated the virus from the island, we've opened it up, social distancing has disappeared, we can see from recent sort of consultation and survey we've done that, in fact, business confidence is returning. It's broadly returning across the economy, except for one or two critical areas. And actually, level of expenditure seems to be relatively healthy. So, yes, I mean, there's a bit of a feel-good factor in some parts in terms of the position that we're at now, and businesses that were fearful and telling us they were very fearful a couple of months ago are now feeling a lot more confident. But we cannot ignore the fact that there appears to be a growing global recession happening, that recovery now in terms of a big V shape, which everyone talked about now, looks increasingly unlikely. And in fact, what recovery looks like over the next 12 months is potentially anybody's guess. So, given what we know, we have to prepare now for the future. I think the schemes that we've brought forward have done their job. Some of those schemes are now having to come to an end, and we need to think about how what structure we put in place to take the island forward over the next 6 to 9 months.
All those months ago, you had to go into the markets, you're going to have to borrow money. The first time ever that potentially you would have a hole. And did that come about? Did you ever touch that money, or was that money in this budget that we're talking about?
Well, we've covered all our spending with our assets at the moment, our cash position. Look, we've been, the island's in incredibly resilient, has incredible resilience. We're 1.6 billion of reserves and investments, and we've been able to cope. So what we're doing in this budget, though, budget update, I am asking Tynwald, and have today asked Tynwald to support a £250 million overdraft facility, effectively, with local banks. That's a prudent measure to ensure that we're covering all our basis, given the huge amount of uncertainty that's happened around this crisis, both in terms of the progress and the fight against the virus itself, and in terms of the changing economic situation. So that money will be there. We've got good reserves. We're in a healthy cash position, and what we are going to do is that we are engaging with advisors to discuss whether or not a longer-term borrowing option is suitable for the island at this
Something we've never had in the past, and you think it might continue?
Well, we have had borrowing in the past, just never perhaps the direct type of borrowing that we're talking now to cover, direct government expenditure.
It's the purple book.
It is
the one and only purple book.
Yeah,
because this is this extraordinary budget. 100 million economic recovery fund. You're going to Tynwald for that as well. Yeah. I mean, that's in this pot.
So this is very much our plan now, to take the island through the next short to medium term, the next 6 to 9 months. We are going to set up a new economic recovery group, which I'm going to chair alongside Lawrence Skelly. That's going to work across government. We are going to deliver on 3 key themes in terms of investing in our people on the island, looking at training opportunities, looking at reskilling opportunities, monitoring the unemployment situation. I'm working directly with businesses potentially to support these sorts of opportunities. We'll be looking at investing in our island in terms of capital projects that we can bring forward that were already scheduled but will enhance the general environment. This will also give us a chance and an opportunity to capitalise on some of the opportunities that have presented itself in terms of the Professor Curran report, the climate changes that we've got to bring forward. So we'll be looking very carefully at those, how we can speed those up, and of course we're accelerating our national broadband plan. And finally, obviously, the economy itself. We're very conscious that we need to keep up demand in the local economy as much as possible. That will be helped by these schemes, infrastructure programs, capital spending government's doing, but also we'll be looking at any potential opportunity for direct stimulus, but broadly in terms of marketing the island, keeping people together, keeping business focused on local business.
Is that the plan, basically? Spending?
Certainly, controlled, targeted spending will help, because it will not only take forward the infrastructure projects that are vital for the future, including the climate change projects, including looking at opportunities for digital inclusion and digital enhancement, but also, we'll create those additional jobs and business opportunities for our local businesses and industry.
The contingency fund, you're another 17.5 million. That's on top of the 40 million already transferred?
Yeah, so as you might expect, income has dropped, not only direct income into Treasury, but government departmental income. So where we might have seen, for example, shipping register income that comes directly into the Department of Infrastructure, for example, and other departments, that has cost us about an additional 33 million. But with some savings that we've found, we've reduced that to 25 million. So we need some more money now. We're just going to put into the contingency fund to cover those additional costs and make sure that Tynwald's prepared to fund departments and accept that departments have some funding challenges as a result of that.
Because the salary support scheme at Mirror is basically come to an end, but for most people it's coming to an end in July, isn't it?
Yeah, so
you've added a bit more to it.
Listen, look, these schemes have broadly done their job. They've saved jobs, they've supported businesses, they've kept the economy together, but you can only carry on paying taxpayers' money in that way directly into the economy for a number of reasons. First of all, from affordability perspective, but you also distort the marketplace potentially as well. You end up supporting potentially different businesses in different ways, and because of some of the rules around that, stronger businesses wouldn't qualify, weaker businesses might. And at some point you have to let the marketplace function and develop, and for businesses to adapt to the current situation. Clearly what we've got to do beyond that is provide a broader base of support to help people adapt, help people change, give opportunities for entrepreneurs, give opportunities to enhance the infrastructure of the island, and by that way we will deal with, I hope, with the negative impacts of any job losses. And
your 30 million, you reckon, down on the tax receipts, aren't you? People who've deferred, is it 30 million?
Yeah, well, that's so far, we offered deferral as a part of the platform of support. We've had about 30 million pounds worth of deferrals. Clearly we outlined that we expect government revenues to suffer significantly this year. We set out the scenarios, anything from 190 million, up to 190 million pounds, 120 to 190 million pounds. So we just don't know. Part of the challenge of this whole crisis is that we're just dealing with a huge amount of unknowns, and in many ways, we've had to manage, certainly in the early part of this crisis, almost on a day-to-day basis, and even now, sat here, fantastic. We're operating in our bubble, our safe bubble, which is a great plus point. We should capitalise on the opportunities I think the island's now got as a result of that, in terms of its offering to business and to individuals. But it's a huge amount of uncertainty, so we are preparing the island. It would be negligent not to prepare the island for a worst case scenario, but actually I also have a lot of faith and confidence in the businesses, our sectors and leadership that's available.
Economic survey was showing quite positive results, I thought. People were coming back.
Well, we had this survey result. We take, I think we put 400 businesses responded. I think we saw a large percentage actually confident. 93% said that I think they were acting as normal, and 70% or so saying that their turnover was as normal or even better than they were before. So this all stems to confidence in some parts of the domestic economy. And bear in mind, of course, we still have these challenges. We have these challenges in tourism and hospitality and accommodation, so we're providing for them. We're standing by, and we're watching very closely, for example, the situation in manufacturing. And as I said, more broadly, that's why we are going to spend that up to 100 million pounds. I say up to because this is not a willy-nilly throw the money around. But if we need to, we will be there to help protect the economy.
You don't say the UK, the V thing isn't going to likely to be happening, but is it more likely here? Have you seen a sharp kick-up?
I think a lot of this stats, so the islands sort of statistics don't sort of roll forward in terms of the UK's ability to collect and monitor on a GDP basis. But the economic division within the Cabinet Office will be producing statistics on a regular basis. We will want to see those in the economic recovery group that we're setting up, particularly be looking at the unemployment, particularly looking at business feedback, and we'll be talking to business on a regular basis.
Yeah, I mean the unemployment 400 before it all started, 1,350. I think we're at now. What percentage is that of our working population? What are we up to? Do you know?
Well, we're looking at moving towards about 4 or 5% of the working.
Yeah.
Higher than
Still quite
the
low
working population.
Comparatively, but obviously we were bumping along at 1% before, weren't we? So just to finish with then, this is going to Tynwald, and you've done, as I said, your briefing. What was the mood music like with everyone? Everyone on board with you? Probably not. I mean, probably well,
we'll see. We'll see what happens when we get to.
Everyone's going to talk about it.
Obviously, you're broadcasting this.
You'll
after
deliver it, then everyone will
debate.
have their tuppence worth to
Listen,
add to it.
We've been a united island in terms of the way we've tackled this crisis. I think we've come together significantly. Tackling the next part of it economically, because it's as much now of an economic crisis as it is a health crisis, in fact possibly even more so to a large degree, particularly on the island in terms of what we're facing. And I'm sure that Tynwald broadly will be united in terms of accepting now we need to invest in our island, get through the next 6 to 9 months, and then take forward to hopefully what will be a brighter future.
To finish with, you do see a brighter future there.
Absolutely. We've come through this before, Paul.
Yeah.
Everybody sat here in 2007. I say everybody. People sat there and said the finance sector wasn't going to recover. That was it. The island was actually. We came to, although there's been some consolidation. Absolutely, we're still very strong and resilient. We've got mature, resilient sectors. There's opportunities out there. It's not all doom and gloom. There's certainly opportunities, financial services, and there will be opportunities in the future. There'll be opportunities for tech, digital services. There's opportunities for environmental, this green, cleaner island that we're moving towards in terms of the carbon challenge that we're tackling. And broadly speaking, I think there's opportunities for businesses now to also find new ways of operating, new ways of working. So, and as a safe island, I think we're a great option for businesses now who are not here to think about coming, and possibly for people who don't live here to think about coming and relocating.